So there you are, you're about to hit play on a YouTube video, and you hit play, and then you think you're going to watch this one video, and then you wake up 2 hours later and say, oh my God, what just happened? And the answer is because you had a supercomputer pointed at your brain. And at the moment you hit play, it wakes up an avatar voodoo doll-like version of you inside of a Google server. And that avatar, based on all the clicks and likes and everything you've ever made, those are like your hair clippings and toenail clippings and nail filings that make the avatar look and act more and more like you. So that inside of a Google server, they can simulate more and more possibilities. If I prick you with this video, if I prick you with this video, how long would you stay? And the business model is simply what maximizes watch time. And this is what's caused 70% of YouTube's traffic now to be driven by recommendations, not by human choice, but by the machines.
It is important to realize that those social media companies thrive by stealing our attention. It is when they have us hooked to them. It is when we pay attention to them that they make profit by showing us advertisements. People think that social media platforms are free, but we are paying so much with our attention.
Because there's only so much attention, companies have to get more of it by being more and more aggressive. I call it the race to the bottom of the brainstem. So it starts with techniques like pull to refresh. So you pull to refresh your newsfeed. That operates like a slot machine. It has the same kind of addictive qualities that keep people in Las Vegas hooked to the slot machine.
Those social media platforms do not want our good. That's why they hire the best marketers and the best psychologists and the best designers to keep us hooked to them.
Other examples are removing stopping cues. So if I take the bottom out of this glass and I keep refilling the water or the wine, you won't know when to stop drinking. So that's what happens with infinitely scrolling feeds. We naturally remove the stopping cues, and this is what keeps people scrolling.
Another way to think about it is when you're reading a book and you finish a chapter, usually that is a stopping cue. You stop for a while, and then you resume reading by starting the new chapter. But social media does not have a stopping cue. You can be scrolling endlessly and always knowing that something new and exciting will pop up in your feed.
But the race for attention has to get more and more aggressive. And so it's not enough just to get your behavior and predict what will take your behavior. We have to predict how to keep you hooked in a different way. And so it crawled deeper down the brainstem into our social validation. So that was the introduction of likes and followers. How many followers do I have?
Yeah, people are highly social beings. They want to relate to others, to connect with others, and to be loved by others. And this deep need that we all have is being tremendously exploited by those social media platforms.
It was much cheaper to, instead of getting your attention, to get you addicted to getting attention from other people.
That's why you see pretty much everybody on social media is trying to show off, is trying to create an image of themselves that is likable by others. But this is creating such a toxic environment that eventually is harming us, and it's disconnecting us from others. And I think that social media is to blame for much of the loneliness epidemic that we are seeing today.
And this has created the kind of mass narcissism and mass cultural thing that's happening with young people, especially today. And after 2 decades in decline, the mental health of 10 to 14-year-old girls has actually shot up 170% in the last 8 years. And this has been very characteristically the cause of social media.
Yeah, sometimes I feel lucky and grateful to have been born and grown up in a society where there was no social media. Imagine being a child nowadays, especially a teenager who feels the need to belong to a social group, and being on social media, constantly comparing yourself with the image of perfection that so many other people of your age portray, and feeling unworthy and inadequate. And on top of that, having to endure so much trolling and bullying that exists on social media today.
And in the race for attention, it's not enough just to get people addicted to attention. The race has to migrate to AI. Who can build a better predictive model of your behavior? And so if you give an example of YouTube, so there you are, you're about to hit play on a YouTube video, and you hit play, and then you think you're going to watch this one video, and then you wake up 2 hours later and say, oh my God, what just happened? And the answer is because you had a supercomputer pointed at your brain.
The AI that those companies use knows ourselves much better than we realize, perhaps much better than we know ourselves. They know our desires, they know our preferences, they know our addictions, and they exploit all of those things to their benefit and against our well-being.
The moment you hit play, it wakes up an avatar voodoo doll-like version of you inside of a Google server. And that avatar, based on all the clicks and likes and everything you've ever made, those are like your hair clippings and toenail clippings and nail filings that make the avatar look and act more and more like you. So that inside of a Google server, they can simulate more and more possibilities. If I prick you with this video, if I prick you with this video, how long would you stay? And the business model is simply what maximizes watch time. This leads to the kind of algorithmic extremism that you've pointed out. And this is what's caused 70% of YouTube's traffic now to be driven by recommendations, not by human choice, but by the machines.
Some people think that it's good that we get this recommended feed, this suggested posts or videos, because, they cater to our preferences and desires. But when we are addicted, doing that is not good or helpful at all. It's like enticing someone who is an alcoholic to keep on drinking by presenting them free bottles of their favorite brands.
And it's a race between Facebook's voodoo doll, where you flick your finger, can they predict what to show you next, and Google's voodoo doll. And these are abstract metaphors that apply to the whole tech industry, where it's a race between who can better predict your behavior.
Social media platforms do not care about our well-being. They do not care about us improving our knowledge. They don't care about us having a good time. They care only about maximizing the attention that we give to them. And so they are going to present us with any content that does so, no matter how silly or toxic it might be.
Facebook has something called loyalty prediction, where they can actually predict to an advertiser when you're about to become disloyal to a brand. So if you're a mother and you take Pampers diapers, they can tell Pampers, hey, this user is about to become disloyal to this brand. So in other words, they can predict things about us that we don't know about our own selves. And that's a new level of asymmetric power.
Indeed, there is not a symmetry of power between social media users and social media platforms. In other words, people are not to blame for their behavior as much as we think, because social media platforms are designed in such a way, using artificial intelligence to unconsciously make us do things that we would otherwise not do. And when you think of very young people who have not yet developed their critical thinking, you can see how manipulative social media platforms can be.
And we have a name for this asymmetric relationship, which is a fiduciary relationship or a duty of care relationship. The same standard we apply to doctors, to priests, to lawyers. Imagine a world in which priests only make their money by selling access to the confession booth to someone else.
Simply put, social media companies need to be held accountable. Right now, they are not. And they can steal our data, they can sell our data, they can manipulate us in all sorts of ways. And they will never stop unless we get angry about it and do something to change it.
Facebook listens to 2 billion people's confessions, has a supercomputer next to them, and is calculating and predicting confessions you're going to make before you know you're going to make them. And that's what's causing all this havoc.
So it's important to keep that in mind when you use social media, to be very wary of how we use it. But most importantly, we need to speak out against it, to raise awareness about how toxic social media platforms are, and to demand that they change, to demand that they are not designed to control and manipulate us, but that they are designed to help us connect truly with each other and to share information for the benefit of everyone.